Welcome to Uncle Al's Bookshelf, the channel where we help you discover the world's greatest stories in just a few minutes. Whether you're a busy book lover who doesn't have time for long reads, or you simply want to explore the highlights of classic literature, this is the place for you. I'm your host, Uncle Al, and in each video, I'll take you on a journey through the most beloved books of all time, giving you a quick overview of their plots, characters, themes, and literary styles. So sit back, relax, and get ready to join me on a trip through the pages of history's most enduring works. In today's video, we are going to talk about Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Noah Harari. The book was first published in 2011 and provides an overview of the history of the human species, from the emergence of Homo sapiens in Africa to the present day. Harari explores various aspects of human history, such as the development of language, agriculture, empires, science, and capitalism. He also discusses the impact these developments have had on human societies and the natural environment. The book is known for its engaging narrative and thought-provoking ideas about the nature of humanity and our place in the world. The book is divided into 4 parts, with a total of 20 chapters. In the first chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari introduces readers to the humble beginnings of Homo sapiens, setting the stage for the subsequent journey through human history. Harari emphasizes that early humans were just one of many species with no apparent significance in the grand scheme of things. The chapter begins by presenting the broader context of the human species' emergence, explaining that around 2.5 million years ago, multiple species of human-like creatures, known as hominids, inhabited the African continent. Homo sapiens, the species we belong to, were just one branch on this family tree. It's important to note that at this time, Homo sapiens were not the dominant or most intelligent species. They coexisted with other hominids like Homo neanderthalensis Neanderthals and Homo erectus, among others. Harari then focuses on the period around 70,000 years ago, known as the Cognitive Revolution, when Homo sapiens began to develop unique cognitive abilities that eventually set them apart from other hominids. This was the starting point for the species' journey towards global domination. Before this revolution, Homo sapiens were relatively insignificant in the animal kingdom, lacking the tools, resources, and social structures that would later define human civilizations. The chapter also highlights the fact that early humans were not at the top of the food chain. They were prey for larger predators and faced numerous survival challenges, such as climate change and competition for resources with other species. However, it was the cognitive revolution that allowed Homo sapiens to develop language, abstract thinking, and cooperation, ultimately paving the way for their dominance over the planet. Chapter 1 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, offers several important lessons about the emergence of Homo sapiens as a dominant species on the planet. One of the key takeaways is the importance of understanding the role that storytelling has played in human evolution. Harari argues that the ability to create and believe in shared myths and narratives has been crucial in allowing humans to cooperate in large groups and to coordinate complex activities. This lesson emphasizes the significance of storytelling as a means of fostering social cohesion and facilitating collective action. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that Homo sapiens were not always the dominant species on the planet. Harari describes how humans have had to compete and coexist with a range of other species over the course of history, and that our success as a species is due in part to our ability to adapt to changing environments and circumstances. This lesson highlights the importance of resilience, flexibility, and adaptability in human evolution. Finally, the chapter underscores the significance of cognitive and cultural revolutions in shaping human societies. Harari argues that the ability of humans to develop abstract concepts and to imagine and create shared realities has allowed for the emergence of complex civilizations and cultural traditions. This lesson highlights the importance of innovation, creativity, and imagination in shaping human societies and advancing human progress. In the second chapter of the book, Yuval Noah Harari delves into the cognitive revolution, a turning point in human history that set Homo sapiens apart from other hominids and laid the foundation for their eventual dominance. This chapter explores the unique cognitive abilities that emerged during this time and the impact they had on human culture and society. The cognitive revolution, which took place around 70,000 years ago, marked a period of rapid change in the cognitive abilities of Homo sapiens. The development of language was a key factor in this revolution, enabling humans to communicate more effectively, share information, and cooperate on a larger scale. Harari argues that this newfound ability to communicate complex ideas and knowledge allowed Homo sapiens to create shared myths and beliefs, resulting in the formation of social constructs such as religion, nations, and laws. These shared beliefs enabled large groups of people to cooperate, giving Homo sapiens an advantage over other hominid species. Another significant cognitive development during this period was the ability to think abstractly and imagine things that didn't exist in reality. This capacity for imagination allowed humans to create art, develop complex rituals, and plan for the future, further differentiating them from other species. Additionally, the emergence of sophisticated social skills enabled Homo sapiens to form complex societies with social hierarchies and division of labor, laying the groundwork for the civilizations that would follow. While the cognitive revolution led to the dominance of Homo sapiens, it also had some negative consequences. The expansion of human populations and the development of new technologies resulted in the extinction of other hominid species and many large animals, as well as significant alterations to ecosystems. Chapter 2 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the emergence of Homo sapiens as a dominant species and the factors that allowed humans to establish themselves as the most successful and widespread species on the planet. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the importance of cooperation and social organization in human evolution. Harari argues that the ability of humans to cooperate in large groups and to coordinate complex activities has been crucial in allowing us to overcome physical and environmental obstacles and to establish complex societies and cultures. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that the success of Homo sapiens has been due in part to our ability to develop and use tools and technology. Harari describes how early humans were able to create and adapt tools to suit their needs, and how this ability allowed them to exploit new environments and resources. This lesson highlights the importance of innovation, problem-solving, and adaptability in human evolution. The chapter also underscores the significance of language and communication in human evolution. Harari argues that the development of language and the ability to create and transmit complex ideas and stories has allowed humans to share knowledge, build cultures, and establish collective identities. This lesson emphasizes the importance of communication, collaboration, and cultural exchange in shaping human societies and advancing human progress. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the relationship between humans and other animals. Harari argues that the domination of Homo sapiens over other species has led to the exploitation and destruction of many ecosystems and species, and that this has had significant consequences for the planet as a whole. This lesson highlights the importance of responsibility, empathy, and respect for other species and the environment in shaping a more sustainable and just future for all. In the third chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari offers a glimpse into the daily lives of early Homo sapiens during the era of foraging, before the advent of agriculture. The chapter provides insights into the lifestyles, social structures, and beliefs of these early humans, highlighting the differences between their way of life and that of modern societies. Harari describes the lives of early Homo sapiens as foragers, who relied on hunting and gathering for sustenance. They lived in small, nomadic groups of around 30 to 50 individuals, which allowed them to maintain close social ties and share resources more efficiently. The division of labor within these groups was relatively simple, with men primarily responsible for hunting and women focusing on gathering plant-based foods. However, this division was flexible, and individuals could take on different roles as needed. The chapter also emphasizes that early humans had a deep connection with the natural world and developed an extensive understanding of their environment. This knowledge enabled them to identify edible plants, track animals, and adapt to changing seasons and conditions. Harari points out that early Homo sapiens had a more varied diet than modern humans, which likely contributed to their overall health and well-being. In terms of social structures, early human societies were relatively egalitarian, with no formal hierarchy or centralized authority. Decisions were made collectively, and disputes were resolved through negotiation and compromise. These societies were also characterized by strong social bonds and a sense of community, which facilitated cooperation and mutual support. Chapter 3 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, delves into the cognitive revolution, which Harari argues was the key factor that enabled Homo sapiens to become the dominant species on the planet. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the importance of the human capacity for imagination and fiction. Harari argues that the ability of humans to imagine and create shared myths and stories has been crucial in allowing us to coordinate in large groups and to establish cultural traditions and social norms. This lesson emphasizes the significance of the human imagination as a tool for creating meaning and fostering social cohesion. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that Homo sapiens have a unique ability to create and believe in abstract concepts, such as religion, money, and nations. Harari describes how these concepts are essentially shared fictions that allow humans to cooperate and coordinate on a large scale. This lesson highlights the importance of the human capacity for abstract thinking and the creation of shared beliefs and values. The chapter also explores the relationship between language and thought. Harari argues that language is not simply a tool for communication, but rather a fundamental aspect of human cognition, shaping the way we perceive the world and think about abstract concepts. This lesson underscores the significance of language in shaping human consciousness and the importance of understanding the relationship between language and thought. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the nature of reality and the limits of human knowledge. Harari argues that the human capacity for imagination and fiction has allowed us to create and believe in a wide range of concepts and beliefs, but that this has also led to significant misconceptions and errors in our understanding of the world. This lesson highlights the importance of humility, curiosity, and critical thinking in shaping a more accurate and nuanced understanding of reality. In the fourth chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari discusses the global expansion of Homo sapiens and the profound impact this migration had on other species and ecosystems. The chapter highlights how the migration of Homo sapiens led to the extinction of many large animals and the reshaping of the world's ecosystems. Harari begins by describing the initial migration of Homo sapiens out of Africa around 70,000 years ago. As they moved into new territories, they encountered various megafauna, large animals that were previously unaccustomed to human presence. Homo sapiens, with their advanced cognitive abilities, developed sophisticated hunting techniques and tools that allowed them to hunt these large animals more effectively than other hominids. The chapter explores the concept of the Great Leap Forward, a period during which Homo sapiens experienced significant advancements in technology, art, and culture. These advancements allowed them to adapt to new environments, exploit resources more efficiently, and outcompete other species, including other hominids like Neanderthals. As Homo sapiens expanded their range, they also drove many large animal species to extinction, including the mammoths, mastodons, and giant ground sloth. Harari argues that this mass extinction of megafauna was a direct result of overhunting by humans. The extinction of these large animals had a domino effect on ecosystems, altering vegetation patterns and impacting other species that relied on the megafauna for food or other resources. Chapter 4 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the agricultural revolution and its impact on human societies. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that the agricultural revolution allowed humans to settle in one place and establish permanent settlements. This led to the development of complex societies and cultural traditions, as well as the rise of social hierarchies and inequalities. This lesson highlights the significance of the agricultural revolution as a turning point in human history that led to significant social and cultural changes. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that the agricultural revolution was not a sudden event, but rather a gradual process that occurred over thousands of years. Harari describes how early humans began to experiment with agriculture and animal domestication as a means of securing a more reliable food supply. This lesson emphasizes the importance of experimentation, trial and error, and persistence in human progress. The chapter also explores the relationship between humans and the environment. Harari argues that the agricultural revolution led to significant changes in the way humans interacted with the natural world, including the development of intensive farming practices that have had significant environmental impacts. This lesson highlights the importance of responsible stewardship of the environment and the need to find sustainable ways of living. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the costs and benefits of the agricultural revolution. Harari argues that while the agricultural revolution allowed humans to achieve greater security and prosperity, it also led to significant social inequalities and the loss of certain freedoms and liberties. This lesson emphasizes the need to weigh the costs and benefits of technological advancements and social changes, and to consider the long-term consequences of our actions and decisions. In the 5th chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari explores the agricultural revolution, a major turning point in human history that fundamentally changed the way humans lived and interacted with their environment. The chapter discusses the consequences of this revolution, both positive and negative, and challenges the conventional view that the development of agriculture was an unequivocal improvement for humanity. The agricultural revolution began around 10,000 years ago, when humans transitioned from a nomadic, hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a sedentary, farming-based one. This shift was driven by the domestication of plants and animals, which allowed humans to produce a stable food supply and support larger populations. Harari argues that the agricultural revolution was not the result of conscious planning, but rather a series of small, incremental steps taken by early humans in response to their changing environment and needs. While the agricultural revolution is often hailed as a major advancement for humanity, Harari presents a more nuanced view. He suggests that the shift to agriculture led to several negative consequences, such as increased disease prevalence due to close proximity to domesticated animals, a decline in overall health and nutrition resulting from a more limited diet, and the rise of social hierarchies and inequalities. Additionally, the agricultural revolution brought about the concept of private property, leading to disputes over land and resources. It also resulted in the overexploitation of the environment and the eventual depletion of natural resources. However, the agricultural revolution did have some positive outcomes. It enabled the development of complex societies, technological advancements, and the growth of human knowledge. It also facilitated the establishment of large-scale political structures and the expansion of trade networks. Chapter 5 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the emergence of human myths, religions, and ideologies. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that myths and religions have played a significant role in shaping human societies and cultures. Harari argues that shared myths and beliefs have allowed humans to establish collective identities and to coordinate their actions and behaviors. This lesson highlights the importance of shared beliefs and values as a means of fostering social cohesion. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that human beliefs and ideologies are not necessarily based on objective reality. Harari describes how many human beliefs and practices are based on myths and fictions rather than empirical evidence. This lesson underscores the significance of the human capacity for imagination and the creation of shared narratives. The chapter also explores the relationship between power and religion. Harari argues that religions and ideologies have often been used as tools of power and control, with religious leaders and political elites using shared beliefs and values to consolidate their authority. This lesson highlights the importance of critical thinking and skepticism in evaluating human beliefs and ideologies. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the role of human beliefs and values in shaping the future of humanity. Harari argues that the current global challenges, such as climate change and nuclear war, require us to reassess our beliefs and values and to find common ground in the face of shared threats. This lesson emphasizes the importance of developing shared narratives and values that can unite humans across cultures and national borders in the pursuit of a sustainable and just future for all. In the sixth chapter of the book, the author examines the rise of complex societies, focusing on the development of social hierarchies, political systems, and the role of religion and shared myths in shaping human culture. This chapter discusses how these elements have contributed to the growth and stability of civilizations, as well as the expansion of human cooperation. Harari begins by explaining how the agricultural revolution led to the emergence of social hierarchies and the division of labor. As societies grew larger and more complex, a need for centralized authority and organization arose. This led to the establishment of political systems, with rulers and governing elites responsible for maintaining order and managing resources. The development of writing and record-keeping systems further facilitated the administration and control of these societies. Religion and shared myths also played a crucial role in the development of complex societies. Harari argues that these shared beliefs created a sense of unity and cooperation among large groups of people, enabling them to work together and form cohesive societies. Religion and mythology also provided justification for social hierarchies and political structures, lending legitimacy to the rule of elites and promoting social order. The chapter discusses the importance of large-scale projects, such as the construction of the Egyptian pyramids, in demonstrating the power and authority of rulers, as well as the collective capacity of societies. These projects required extensive organization, cooperation, and resource allocation, showcasing the abilities of these complex societies. Chapter 6 of Sapiens. A Brief History of Humankind explores the emergence of empires and the role that imperialism has played in shaping human history. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that empires have been a defining feature of human societies for thousands of years. Harari describes how empires have been established through military conquest and political domination, often resulting in the subjugation and exploitation of other peoples and cultures. This lesson highlights the importance of understanding the historical and cultural context of imperial expansion and its lasting impact on human societies. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that imperialism has often been driven by economic motivations, such as the desire for resources, wealth, and power. Harari argues that imperialism has led to significant inequalities and disparities in wealth and power between different regions of the world. This lesson underscores the significance of economic and political power dynamics in shaping human history and highlights the importance of addressing inequality and injustice in global systems. The chapter also explores the relationship between imperialism and cultural exchange. Harari argues that imperial expansion has often facilitated cultural exchange and the spread of ideas and technologies between different regions of the world. This lesson emphasizes the significance of cultural exchange and the importance of recognizing the contributions of different cultures and peoples to human progress. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of imperialism and the need for global cooperation and solidarity. Harari argues that the current global challenges, such as climate change and economic inequality, require us to move beyond imperialistic models of power and to work together as a global community to address shared problems. This lesson highlights the importance of recognizing the interconnectedness of human societies and the need for collective action in addressing global challenges. In the seventh chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari delves into the development of writing systems and their impact on human societies. The chapter discusses the origins of writing, its various forms, and how it has shaped the way we communicate, store information, and govern our societies. Harari begins by explaining that writing systems emerged as a solution to the problem of memory overload in complex societies. The need to record and manage vast amounts of information, such as laws, trade transactions, and administrative records, drove the development of writing. The first known writing system, cuneiform, was developed by the Sumerians around 5,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia. Other early writing systems include Egyptian hieroglyphics and the Harappan script of the Indus Valley Civilization. The chapter explores the various forms of writing, including alphabetic, logographic, and syllabic systems. Alphabetic systems, such as the Latin alphabet used in English, represent individual sounds, while logographic systems, like Chinese characters, represent entire words or concepts. Syllabic systems, such as Japanese kana, represent syllables. Writing systems facilitated the development of complex societies by enabling the storage and transmission of information across time and space. This allowed for the growth of trade networks, the establishment of legal systems, and the centralization of political power. Writing also enabled the preservation of knowledge and cultural expression through literature, history, and scientific texts. However, the development of writing also had some negative consequences. It contributed to social stratification, as literacy was often limited to elites, and it allowed for the manipulation of information and the suppression of dissent. Additionally, writing enabled the codification of oppressive laws and social norms. Chapter 7 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the emergence of money and the role that it has played in shaping human societies. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that money is a shared fiction that has allowed humans to coordinate complex economic activities and to establish complex societies and cultures. Harari argues that money has facilitated trade and commerce, allowed for the accumulation of wealth, and enabled humans to establish complex economic systems that have shaped human history. This lesson underscores the significance of the human capacity for creating shared beliefs and values that can shape social and economic systems. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that the value of money is not based on objective reality, but rather on shared beliefs and trust. Harari describes how money is essentially a social construct that is given value through shared belief and trust in its value. This lesson emphasizes the importance of understanding the role of social constructs in shaping human societies and highlights the significance of the human capacity for creating and believing in shared fictions. The chapter also explores the relationship between money and power. Harari argues that money has often been used as a tool of power and control, with economic elites using their wealth and resources to consolidate their authority and influence. This lesson highlights the importance of understanding the dynamics of power and inequality in economic systems, and the need to address issues of economic injustice and inequality. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of money and the need to reassess our beliefs and values in the face of global economic challenges. Harari argues that the current global economic system is unsustainable, and that we need to reconsider our values and beliefs in order to create a more just and sustainable future. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the social and environmental costs of economic activity and the need to create economic systems that prioritize sustainability, equality, and justice. In the 8th chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari explores the concept of justice and its relationship to history. He examines the ways in which history has been shaped by power dynamics, social hierarchies, and human biases rather than a universal sense of justice or fairness. Harari argues that the course of history has been influenced by the actions of individuals and groups seeking to promote their own interests and agendas, often at the expense of others. This has led to the establishment of social hierarchies, the marginalization of certain groups, and the perpetuation of inequalities. The chapter discusses the ways in which dominant groups have justified and maintained their positions of power, often by appealing to religious, cultural, or ideological beliefs. For example, the divine right of kings was used to legitimize the rule of monarchs, and racial ideologies were employed to justify colonialism and slavery. Harari also explores the idea that historical injustices may have unintended positive consequences, such as spurring technological advancements or social progress. However, he cautions against using this reasoning to justify oppression or inequality, emphasizing that the ends do not necessarily justify the means. Ultimately, Harari concludes that there is no inherent justice in history, but that humans have the ability to shape the future and promote a more equitable and just world. Chapter 8 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the role of imperialism and capitalism in shaping the modern world. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that imperialism and capitalism have been closely intertwined throughout history. Harari argues that imperial expansion has often been driven by economic motivations, such as the desire for resources, markets, and cheap labor. This lesson highlights the importance of understanding the historical and economic context of imperialism and its lasting impact on the world. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that capitalism has enabled unprecedented economic growth and technological progress, but has also resulted in significant inequalities and environmental damage. Harari describes how capitalism has fueled economic growth and technological innovation, but has also led to significant environmental degradation, social inequality, and exploitation. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the limitations and consequences of capitalism as an economic system. The chapter also explores the relationship between capitalism and consumerism. Harari argues that consumerism has become a defining feature of modern capitalist societies, with individuals and societies driven by a desire for material goods and status symbols. This lesson highlights the importance of understanding the social and psychological dimensions of consumerism and its impact on human well-being and the environment. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of capitalism and the need for new economic models that prioritize social and environmental sustainability. Harari argues that the current economic system is unsustainable and that we need to create new economic models that prioritize the well-being of people and the planet. This lesson emphasizes the importance of rethinking our economic values and priorities in order to create a more just and sustainable future for all. In the 9th chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari discusses the idea of historical progress and whether history follows a linear trajectory. He examines the factors that have contributed to the development of human societies and the ways in which these factors have influenced our perception of progress. Harari begins by challenging the notion that history follows a linear path, moving from a primitive past to a more advanced and enlightened future. He argues that this perception is influenced by our cultural, ideological, and religious beliefs, which often view the present as superior to the past. The chapter explores various factors that have contributed to the development of human societies, including technological advancements, economic growth, and the spread of political and religious ideologies. Harari argues that these factors, while often associated with progress, do not necessarily lead to universally positive outcomes. For instance, technological advancements have improved living conditions and increased life expectancy, but they have also led to environmental degradation and the proliferation of destructive weapons. Economic growth has raised living standards for many people, but it has also contributed to vast income inequalities and the exploitation of vulnerable populations. Harari suggests that the idea of progress is often used to justify existing power structures and social hierarchies, as dominant groups claim that their rule has led to a better and more advanced society. However, he emphasizes that history is shaped by human actions and choices, and that progress is not an inevitable outcome. Chapter 9 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the scientific revolution and its impact on human societies. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that science has fundamentally transformed the way humans understand and interact with the world. Harari describes how the scientific revolution allowed humans to develop new methods for investigating the natural world and to make unprecedented advances in fields such as medicine, physics, and biology. This lesson underscores the significance of scientific inquiry and the potential for science to lead to transformative changes in human society. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that science has not always been a neutral or objective pursuit. Harari argues that science has often been shaped by political and economic interests, and that scientific discoveries have sometimes been used to justify discriminatory or oppressive practices. This lesson highlights the importance of recognizing the social and political dimensions of science and the need to ensure that scientific inquiry is guided by ethical principles and values. The chapter also explores the relationship between science and religion. Harari argues that the scientific revolution challenged traditional religious beliefs and opened up new possibilities for human understanding of the world. This lesson emphasizes the significance of the human capacity for critical thinking and intellectual curiosity in driving scientific progress. Finally, The chapter raises important questions about the future of science and the need to ensure that scientific progress is guided by ethical considerations and values. Harari argues that as science continues to advance, we need to ensure that it is used to promote the well-being of all people and the planet. This lesson underscores the importance of ethical decision-making in scientific research and the need to create scientific systems that prioritize human and environmental sustainability. In the 10th chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari explores the history and development of money as a system of trust and its role in facilitating trade, economic growth, and social cooperation. Harari begins by discussing the origins of money, which emerged as a solution to the limitations of the barter system. Early forms of money included shells, beads, and precious metals, which were used as mediums of exchange due to their inherent qualities, such as durability, divisibility, and scarcity. The chapter then delves into the development of coinage, which emerged around 640 BCE in the Kingdom of Lydia, modern-day Turkey. Coins provided a standardized and easily recognizable form of money, which facilitated trade and economic growth. The subsequent rise of paper money and the modern banking system further expanded the possibilities of trade and credit, allowing for the growth of complex economies. Harari emphasizes that money is a system of trust based on shared beliefs and cultural agreements. Money has no intrinsic value, but derives its worth from the faith people have in its ability to represent and store value. This system of trust enables large-scale cooperation and the exchange of goods and services among people who do not know each other personally. Chapter 10 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the impact of imperialism and the rise of European powers on the world. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that the European powers, particularly Spain and Portugal, were able to establish global empires through their superior military and technological capabilities. Harari describes how European expansion led to the conquest and colonization of much of the world and fundamentally reshaped global power dynamics. This lesson highlights the significance of the human capacity for innovation and technological advancement in shaping global history. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that European imperialism had significant consequences for the people and cultures that were colonized. Harari argues that European expansion led to the subjugation and exploitation of colonized peoples and cultures, and that the effects of imperialism continue to be felt to this day. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the historical and cultural legacies of imperialism and the need to address issues of inequality and injustice. The chapter also explores the relationship between imperialism and the global economy. Harari argues that European expansion facilitated the development of a global economic system, with resources and labor being extracted from colonized regions to fuel the growth of European economies. This lesson highlights the importance of recognizing the interconnectivity of global economic systems and the need to address issues of economic inequality and environmental degradation. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of imperialism and the need for global cooperation and solidarity. Harari argues that the current global challenges, such as climate change and economic inequality, require us to move beyond imperialistic models of power and to work together as a global community to address shared problems. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the interconnectedness of human societies and the need for collective action in addressing global challenges. The chapter also explores the role of money in shaping social hierarchies, as wealth and economic power often translate into social and political influence. Harari discusses how the pursuit of wealth has driven human progress and innovation, but has also led to social inequalities, exploitation, and environmental degradation. In the 11th chapter of the book, Yuval Noah Harari discusses the rise and fall of empires throughout history, and the factors that have contributed to their success, longevity, and eventual collapse. He also examines the impact of empires on the people they governed and the world at large. Harari begins by explaining that empires have been a dominant feature of human history, often controlling vast territories and diverse populations. He identifies several factors that have enabled empires to thrive, including military power, effective administration, and the ability to assimilate conquered populations. Additionally, Empires have often adopted a policy of cultural and religious tolerance, which has helped maintain stability and cohesion within their borders. The chapter discusses various historical examples of empires, including the Roman, Persian, and Mongol empires, as well as the more recent British and Soviet empires. Harari highlights the ways in which empires have contributed to the spread of ideas, technologies, and cultural practices, leading to a process of cultural exchange and hybridization. While empires have often exploited and oppressed the people they ruled, they have also facilitated the exchange of knowledge, goods, and innovations, which has shaped the course of human history. However, Harari also acknowledges the negative consequences of imperial rule, such as the destruction of indigenous cultures, the imposition of foreign values, and the devastation of wars and conquests. He argues that the fall of empires is often the result of internal factors, such as political instability and economic decline, as well as external pressures, such as military threats and changing geopolitical dynamics. Chapter 11 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the relationship between the rise of capitalism and the creation of the modern work environment. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that the modern work environment has been shaped by the demands of capitalism, with work increasingly becoming a means of generating profit, rather than a source of personal fulfillment or meaning. Harari describes how the capitalist emphasis on efficiency and productivity has led to the creation of a work environment that is often characterized by long hours, low wages, and poor working conditions. This lesson highlights the importance of recognizing the impact of economic systems on the work environment and the need to create work environments that prioritize the well-being of workers. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that the modern work environment has also had significant social and cultural consequences. Harari argues that the rise of capitalism has led to the commodification of work and the devaluation of non-economic forms of human activity, such as family life and community engagement. This lesson emphasizes the significance of recognizing the social and cultural dimensions of economic systems and the need to create economic systems that prioritize human well-being and social cohesion. The chapter also explores the relationship between work and identity. Harari argues that in modern capitalist societies, work has become a defining aspect of individual identity, with individuals often identifying themselves primarily through their job or profession. This lesson highlights the importance of recognizing the broader social and cultural implications of the modern work environment and the need to create a more holistic understanding of individual identity and purpose. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of work and the need to create new economic models that prioritize human well-being and fulfillment. Harari argues that the current work environment is unsustainable and that we need to create new economic systems that prioritize the well-being of workers and promote human flourishing. This lesson underscores the importance of rethinking our economic values and priorities in order to create a more just and sustainable future for all. In the 12th chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari delves into the role of religion in human societies, its evolution over time, and its impact on social order and cooperation. Harari begins by defining religion as a system of human norms and values that is founded on a belief in a superhuman order. He distinguishes between three types of religions: animistic, polytheistic, and monotheistic. Animistic religions, prevalent in hunter-gatherer societies, attribute spiritual qualities to natural entities like animals, plants, and natural phenomena. Polytheistic religions acknowledge the existence of multiple gods, each governing a specific domain, while monotheistic religions posit the existence of a single, all-powerful deity. The chapter discusses how religions have evolved and adapted to the changing needs of human societies. As societies grew in size and complexity, religions evolved to address the challenges of social order and cooperation, providing a shared framework of values, beliefs, and norms that facilitated cohesion and unity. Harari emphasizes that religious beliefs have often played a crucial role in legitimizing social hierarchies and power structures, as rulers have claimed divine authority to justify their rule. At the same time, religion has served as a source of consolation and hope for individuals, providing meaning and purpose in times of suffering and uncertainty. The chapter also examines the relationship between religion and morality. arguing that while religious beliefs can provide moral guidance, they are not the sole source of moral values. Harari contends that humans are capable of developing moral systems independent of religious belief, citing secular societies as evidence. Chapter 12 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the impact of modern science on human society and the role of technological innovation in shaping the future. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that scientific progress has transformed human society in profound ways, allowing us to achieve unprecedented levels of knowledge and technological advancement. Harari describes how scientific innovations have led to improvements in medicine, agriculture, and communication, and have fundamentally transformed the way we understand and interact with the world. This lesson highlights the significance of scientific inquiry and the potential for science to lead to transformative changes in human society. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that technological innovation has significant social and ethical implications. Harari argues that while technological progress has brought many benefits, it has also created new challenges and risks, such as environmental degradation, social inequality, and the potential for misuse or abuse of technology. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the broader social and ethical dimensions of technological innovation and the need to ensure that technological progress is guided by ethical considerations and values. The chapter also explores the relationship between science and religion in the modern world. Harari argues that the rise of modern science has challenged traditional religious beliefs and has led to a decline in religious influence in many societies. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the diversity of human beliefs and values and the need to create a more inclusive and tolerant society that values different forms of knowledge and understanding. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of technological innovation and the need to ensure that it is used to promote the well-being of all people and the planet. Harari argues that as technology continues to advance, we need to ensure that it is used to create a more just and sustainable future. This lesson emphasizes the importance of ethical decision-making in technological innovation and the need to create technological systems that prioritize human and environmental sustainability. In the 13th chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari explores the factors that have contributed to the success of Homo sapiens as a species, focusing on the role of science and the scientific method in driving human progress and innovation. Harari begins by discussing the importance of curiosity and the desire to understand the world as key drivers of human progress. He argues that the development of the scientific method, which involves systematic observation, measurement, experimentation, and the formulation and testing of hypotheses, has been a crucial factor in the advancement of human knowledge and technology. The chapter highlights the historical context in which modern science emerged, with particular emphasis on the scientific revolution in Europe during the 16th and 17th centuries. Harari attributes the success of the scientific revolution to a combination of factors, including the willingness to question traditional beliefs, the development of new instruments and techniques, and the establishment of a global network of scholars who exchanged ideas and information. Harari also explores the relationship between science, empire, and capitalism, arguing that the three have been closely intertwined throughout history. The pursuit of scientific knowledge often went hand in hand with imperial expansion, as European powers sought to understand and exploit the natural resources of the lands they conquered. Similarly, the growth of capitalism created a demand for new technologies and innovations, which in turn spurred further scientific research and development. The chapter concludes with a discussion of the ethical implications of scientific progress, as Harari acknowledges that the advancement of human knowledge has not only brought about improvements in living standards and well-being, but also caused immense suffering, inequality, and environmental degradation. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that nationalism is a relatively recent invention in human history, with the concept of the nation-state only emerging in the past few centuries. Harari describes how nationalism has led to the creation of powerful, centralized states that are defined by a shared national identity and have significant control over their citizens. This lesson highlights the significance of political and cultural constructs in shaping human societies. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that nationalism has had significant consequences for the world, both positive and negative. Harari argues that nationalism has played a key role in shaping modern political systems and has led to significant social and economic changes. However, he also notes that nationalism has often been used to justify discriminatory or oppressive practices and has contributed to conflicts and tensions between different groups of people. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the potential negative consequences of nationalism and the need to create a more inclusive and tolerant society that values diversity and multiculturalism. The chapter also explores the relationship between nationalism and imperialism. Harari argues that nationalism played a key role in the decline of European imperialism and the rise of national self-determination in the 20th century. This lesson highlights the significance of political and economic systems in shaping global history, and the importance of recognizing the complex interconnections between different social and political phenomena. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of nationalism and the need to create new models of political and cultural identity that reflect the diverse and interconnected nature of human societies. Harari argues that as the world becomes increasingly globalized, we need to create new systems of identity and belonging that go beyond the traditional nation-state model. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the interconnectivity of human societies and the need to create political and cultural systems that reflect this reality. In the 14th chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari discusses the concept of ignorance and its role in driving human progress, especially during the scientific revolution. Harari begins by highlighting that admitting ignorance has been a crucial factor in the development and growth of human knowledge. Prior to the scientific revolution, people often relied on religious or traditional explanations for natural phenomena and human experiences. This reliance on established beliefs and dogmas stifled progress, as it left little room for questioning, experimentation, or the pursuit of new knowledge. The scientific revolution, however, marked a turning point, as it was characterized by the willingness to embrace the unknown and admit ignorance. This shift in mindset opened the door for exploration, experimentation, and the development of new theories and ideas. Harari emphasizes the importance of the scientific method, which involves the formulation of hypotheses, systematic observation, experimentation, and the critical evaluation of evidence. The chapter also highlights the role of European imperialism in the spread of the scientific mindset. As European empires expanded, they encountered new lands, peoples, and natural phenomena that challenged their existing beliefs and knowledge. This is exposure to the unknown, fueled curiosity, and the desire to understand the world, which in turn drove scientific progress. Harari concludes by discussing the potential dangers of the pursuit of knowledge, as the power gained through scientific understanding can be used for both good and ill. He argues that societies must carefully consider the ethical implications of their actions and decisions, and strive to use the knowledge they gain responsibly and for the benefit of all. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that while material wealth and pleasure can bring temporary happiness, they do not necessarily lead to long-term fulfillment or satisfaction. Harari describes how the pursuit of material goods and pleasure has been a defining characteristic of modern consumerist culture, but argues that this emphasis on materialism has led to a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction in many people. This lesson highlights the importance of recognizing the limitations of material wealth in contributing to human well-being. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that happiness is a complex and multifaceted concept that cannot be reduced to simple measures, such as income or possessions. Harari argues that happiness is influenced by a variety of factors, including social relationships, health, and personal meaning and purpose. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the diverse and multifaceted nature of human well-being, and the need to create societies and economic systems that prioritize human flourishing in all its dimensions. The chapter also explores the relationship between consumerism and environmental degradation. Harari argues that the pursuit of material wealth and pleasure has contributed to the depletion of natural resources and the degradation of the environment. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the broader social and environmental implications of our individual and collective actions, and the need to create economic systems that prioritize sustainability and environmental responsibility. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of human well-being and the need to create new models of economic and social organization that prioritize human flourishing over the pursuit of material wealth. Harari argues that as we confront global challenges such as climate change and economic inequality, we need to create new economic and social systems that prioritize human well-being and the health of the planet. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the broader social and environmental implications of our actions and the need to create a more just and sustainable future for all. In the 15th chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari explores the relationship between science and empire, examining how the two have been interconnected throughout history, particularly during the Age of Exploration and the European colonial era. Harari begins by discussing the motivations behind European exploration and expansion, which included the pursuit of wealth, political power, and religious conversion. He argues that science played a crucial role in facilitating European imperialism, as the scientific mindset and innovations allowed European powers to navigate, conquer, and exploit new lands more effectively than their rivals. The chapter highlights several key scientific developments that contributed to the success of European empires, such as advances in cartography, navigation, and shipbuilding. These innovations enabled Europeans to establish and maintain control over vast territories, far from their home countries. Harari also discusses the role of European empires in advancing scientific knowledge by sponsoring expeditions, supporting research institutions, and funding scientific endeavors. This patronage enabled scientists to access new resources, collect data, and formulate new theories and ideas. The chapter emphasizes that the relationship between science and empire was mutually beneficial, as scientific advancements facilitated imperial expansion, while imperial conquests provided opportunities for further scientific research and development. Harari concludes by examining the ethical implications of this marriage between science and empire. He acknowledges that the pursuit of knowledge and technological innovation has brought about numerous benefits for humanity, but has also caused immense suffering, exploitation, and environmental destruction. Chapter 15 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the concept of humanism and its impact on human societies. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that humanism is a relatively recent invention in human history, with the concept of human rights and individualism only emerging in the past few centuries. Harari describes how humanism has led to significant changes in the way we understand and value human life, and has contributed to the development of more democratic and egalitarian societies. This lesson highlights the significance of cultural and philosophical constructs in shaping human societies. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that humanism has had significant consequences for the world, both positive and negative. Harari argues that humanism has played a key role in the development of modern science, medicine, and technology, and has led to significant social and economic changes. However, he also notes that humanism has often been used to justify discriminatory or oppressive practices, and has contributed to conflicts and tensions between different groups of people. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the potential negative consequences of cultural and philosophical constructs, and the need to create a more inclusive and tolerant society that values diversity and multiculturalism. The chapter also explores the relationship between humanism and religion. Harari argues that humanism has challenged traditional religious beliefs and has led to a decline in religious influence in many societies. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the diversity of human beliefs and values, and the need to create a more inclusive and tolerant society that values different forms of knowledge and understanding. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of humanism and the need to create new models of cultural and philosophical identity that reflect the diverse and interconnected nature of human societies. Harari argues that as the world becomes increasingly globalized, we need to create new systems of identity and belonging that go beyond the traditional nation-state model. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the interconnectivity of human societies and the need to create cultural and philosophical systems that reflect this reality. In the 16th chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari delves into the development of capitalism as an economic system and its impact on human societies. He discusses how capitalism has been instrumental in shaping the modern world and its values. Harari begins by tracing the origins of capitalism back to the early modern period, when the concept of credit emerged. This new economic system was built on the belief that economic growth would lead to improved living standards and greater prosperity for all. Harari argues that capitalism's core principles include the pursuit of profit, competition, and the primacy of individual self-interest. The chapter highlights the role of the joint stock company as a key innovation that facilitated the spread of capitalism. These companies allowed investors to pool their resources, share risks, and ultimately reap the rewards of successful ventures. This innovation enabled the rapid expansion of trade, industry, and investment, leading to the unprecedented growth of wealth and prosperity in capitalist societies. Harari also discusses the relationship between capitalism and science, arguing that the two have been closely intertwined throughout history. The growth of capitalism created a demand for new technologies and innovations, which in turn spurred further scientific research and development. This symbiotic relationship has driven significant progress in various fields of human endeavor. The chapter concludes with an examination of the ethical implications of capitalism, as Harari acknowledges that the economic system has not only brought about improvements in living standards and well-being, but also caused immense suffering, inequality, and environmental degradation. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that scientific revolutions have led to significant changes in the way we understand and interact with the world around us. Harari describes how scientific revolutions have challenged traditional beliefs and led to the development of new technologies, medicines, and ways of thinking about the natural world. This lesson highlights the significance of scientific inquiry and discovery in shaping human societies. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that scientific revolutions have had significant consequences for the world, both positive and negative. Harari argues that scientific revolutions have led to significant improvements in human health, welfare, and knowledge, but have also led to environmental destruction, social inequality, and new forms of warfare. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the potential consequences of scientific discoveries and the need to create responsible and sustainable systems of innovation and technological development. The chapter also explores the relationship between science and religion. Harari argues that scientific discoveries have often challenged traditional religious beliefs and have led to conflicts and tensions between religious and scientific communities. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the diversity of human beliefs and values, and the need to create a more inclusive and tolerant society that values different forms of knowledge and understanding. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of scientific inquiry and the need to create new models of scientific development that reflect the diverse and interconnected nature of human societies. Harari argues that as the world becomes increasingly globalized, we need to create new systems of scientific inquiry and development that prioritize social and environmental responsibility, and that are guided by ethical principles. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the broader social and environmental implications of scientific discoveries, and the need to create systems of innovation and technological development that promote human flourishing and sustainability. In the 17th chapter, Yuval Noah Harari explores the Industrial Revolution and its far-reaching effects on human societies, economies, and the environment. He discusses how the revolution transformed the way people live, work, and interact with one another and the world around them. Harari begins by outlining the key factors that contributed to the onset of the Industrial Revolution, including the development of new sources of energy, the invention of the steam engine, and advancements in metallurgy and textile production. He emphasizes the role of these innovations in driving productivity, economic growth, and urbanization. The chapter also discusses the profound social and economic changes that resulted from the Industrial Revolution. Harari highlights the rise of the factory system, which centralized production and led to the growth of cities, the decline of traditional rural lifestyles, and the emergence of new social classes. He also explores the consequences of these changes, such as the exploitation of workers, poor living conditions in urban areas, and the rise of labor movements and social reform efforts. Harari then examines the environmental impacts of the Industrial Revolution, including the depletion of natural resources, pollution, and the loss of biodiversity. He argues that while the revolution brought about unprecedented economic growth and improvements in living standards, it also created significant environmental challenges that continue to affect the world today. The chapter concludes with a discussion of the implications of the Industrial Revolution for the future of humanity. Harari suggests that the ongoing drive for economic growth and technological progress may lead to further social, economic, and environmental disruptions, and he urges readers to consider the ethical implications of these potential outcomes. Chapter 17 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the concept of imperialism and its impact on human societies. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that imperialism has been a defining characteristic of human history, with powerful nations and empires seeking to dominate and control weaker nations and peoples. Harari describes how imperialism has led to significant changes in the distribution of power and resources around the world, and has contributed to the development of many modern political and economic systems. This lesson highlights the significance of geopolitical factors in shaping human societies. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that imperialism has had significant consequences for the world, both positive and negative. Harari argues that imperialism has led to the spread of ideas, cultures, and technologies, but has also led to the exploitation and oppression of many peoples and cultures. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the diversity and complexity of human societies, and the need to create systems of power and governance that prioritize equity and justice. The chapter also explores the relationship between imperialism and capitalism. Harari argues that imperialism and capitalism are closely linked, with many of the world's wealthiest nations and corporations deriving their wealth and power from the exploitation of weaker nations and peoples. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the systemic nature of inequality and exploitation in modern economic and political systems, and the need to create more just and equitable systems of governance and resource distribution. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of imperialism and the need to create new models of global governance and cooperation that reflect the diversity and interconnectedness of human societies. Harari argues that as the world becomes increasingly globalized, we need to create new systems of power and governance that prioritize social and environmental responsibility, and that promote equity and justice on a global scale. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the interconnectivity of human societies and the need to create systems of governance and resource distribution that promote human flourishing and sustainability for all. In the 18th chapter, the author discusses the concept of the permanent revolution, which refers to the continuous and accelerating pace of change in human societies, driven by advancements in science, technology, and industry. He explores the implications of this phenomenon for individuals, societies, and the future of humanity as a whole. Harari begins by examining the factors that have contributed to the permanent revolution, including the marriage of science and capitalism, the pursuit of economic growth, and the development of new technologies. He argues that the constant drive for innovation and progress has fundamentally altered the way humans live and interact with the world, as well as their expectations for the future. The chapter then discusses the social, economic, and political consequences of the permanent revolution. Harari highlights the rapid transformation of industries and the rise of new economic sectors, the increasing pace of urbanization, and the erosion of traditional social structures and norms. He also emphasizes the challenges of adapting to these changes, both for individuals and societies. Harari further explores the implications of the permanent revolution for human happiness and well-being. He raises questions about the ability of humans to adapt to the rapid pace of change, and the potential consequences for mental health, personal relationships, and social cohesion. He also discusses the ethical implications of the constant pursuit of progress and the potential trade-offs between economic growth and individual well-being. The chapter concludes with a consideration of the future of humanity in the context of the permanent revolution. Harari suggests that the ongoing drive for innovation and change may lead to further social, economic, and environmental disruptions, as well as new ethical dilemmas and challenges. He encourages readers to reflect on their values and priorities, and to consider the potential consequences of their actions and decisions in this ever-changing world. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that the modern state is a relatively recent invention in human history, emerging only in the past few centuries. Harari describes how the modern state has led to significant changes in the way we organize ourselves politically and socially, and has contributed to the development of many modern systems of governance and citizenship. This lesson highlights the significance of political institutions in shaping human societies. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that the modern state has had significant consequences for the world, both positive and negative. Harari argues that the modern state has played a key role in the development of modern democracy, human rights, and economic systems, but has also led to the emergence of new forms of nationalism, racism, and authoritarianism. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the potential negative consequences of political institutions and the need to create more inclusive and tolerant systems of governance that prioritize equity and justice. The chapter also explores the relationship between the modern state and religion. Harari argues that the modern state has often challenged traditional religious beliefs and has sought to establish secular systems of governance, but has also sometimes co-opted religious institutions and beliefs for political purposes. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the complexity and diversity of human beliefs and values, and the need to create systems of governance that respect and protect the freedom of religion and belief. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of the modern state and the need to create new models of political organization and citizenship that reflect the diverse and interconnected nature of human societies. Harari argues that as the world becomes increasingly globalized and interconnected, we need to create new systems of governance and citizenship that promote equity and justice on a global scale. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the interconnectivity of human societies and the need to create systems of governance and resource distribution that promote human flourishing and sustainability for all. In the 19th chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari turns his attention to the concept of happiness and its relationship with the course of human history. He explores the factors that influence individual and collective well-being, as well as the implications of these factors for understanding the past, present, and future of humanity. Harari begins by discussing the complexities of defining and measuring happiness, noting that it can be subjective and influenced by a range of factors, including genetics, biochemistry, and cultural and societal norms. He emphasizes the importance of considering these factors when attempting to assess the impact of historical events and developments on human happiness. The chapter examines the relationship between material wealth, social status, and happiness, arguing that while economic growth and improved living standards have contributed to increased well-being for some, they have not necessarily led to greater happiness for all. Harari suggests that happiness is influenced by factors such as personal expectations, social comparisons, and the ability to adapt to new circumstances. Harari then explores the role of religion, ideology, and spirituality in shaping human happiness, noting that these belief systems can provide individuals with a sense of meaning, purpose, and belonging. He also discusses the potential drawbacks of these belief systems, including the perpetuation of social inequality and the suppression of dissenting voices. The chapter concludes with a consideration of the future of human happiness in the context of rapid technological advancements and the ongoing pursuit of progress. Harari raises questions about the ethical implications of new technologies that have the potential to enhance human well-being, and he encourages readers to reflect on their values, priorities, and the potential consequences of their actions and decisions in this ever-evolving world. Chapter 19 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the concept of the modern economy and its impact on human societies. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that the modern economy is a relatively recent invention in human history, emerging only in the past few centuries. Harari describes how the modern economy has led to significant changes in the way we organize ourselves economically and socially, and has contributed to the development of many modern economic systems and structures. This lesson highlights the significance of economic institutions in shaping human societies. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that the modern economy has had significant consequences for the world, both positive and negative. Harari argues that the modern economy has played a key role in the development of modern capitalism, technological innovation, and economic growth, but has also led to the emergence of new forms of inequality, exploitation, and environmental destruction. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the potential negative consequences of economic institutions and the need to create more sustainable and equitable systems of economic development. The chapter also explores the relationship between the modern economy and politics. Harari argues that the modern economy has often been influenced by political power and has sometimes been used for political purposes. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the interconnectivity of economic and political institutions and the need to create systems of governance that promote sustainable and equitable economic development. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the future of the modern economy and the need to create new models of economic organization and development that reflect the diverse and interconnected nature of human societies. Harari argues that as the world becomes increasingly globalized and interconnected, we need to create new systems of economic development that prioritize social and environmental responsibility and that promote equity and justice on a global scale. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the interconnectivity of economic and social institutions and the need to create systems of economic development that promote human flourishing and sustainability for all. In the 20th and final chapter of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Yuval Noah Harari speculates on the future of Homo sapiens, discussing the potential consequences of advances in science, technology, and medicine for the human species. He raises thought-provoking questions about the ethical implications of these developments and the role of humans in shaping their own destiny. Harari begins by outlining some of the ways in which scientific and technological advancements are already transforming human lives, such as genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, and life extension technologies. He posits that these advances may eventually lead to the creation of new, enhanced forms of humans or even entirely new species, which could bring an end to Homo sapiens as we know them. The chapter then delves into the potential ethical and philosophical implications of these developments. Harari raises questions about the nature of human identity, the value of life, and the potential consequences of creating beings that are more intelligent or powerful than humans. He also discusses the potential societal impacts of these technologies, including increased inequality and the displacement of human labor by machines. Harari also explores the idea that humans may one day be able to achieve happiness, immortality, and even divinity through technological advancements. He discusses the potential risks and benefits of such pursuits and encourages readers to consider the ethical implications of striving for these goals. The chapter concludes with a call to action for readers to engage in critical thinking and ethical reflection about the future of humanity. Harari emphasizes the importance of understanding the historical forces that have shaped human societies and the potential consequences of new technologies and advancements. He argues that by understanding the past, humans can better navigate the challenges of the present and future and make more informed decisions about the kind of world they want to create. Chapter 20 of Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, explores the concept of the future of humankind and the challenges and opportunities we face as a species. One of the key lessons from the chapter is the recognition that we are currently living in a period of unprecedented change, characterized by rapid technological advancement, globalization, and ecological disruption. Harari describes how these changes are likely to have significant impacts on human societies and raise important questions about the future of our species. This lesson highlights the significance of understanding the challenges we face as a species and taking action to address them. Another important lesson from the chapter is the recognition that the future of humankind is not predetermined and that we have the power to shape our own future. Harari argues that by working together as a species, we can create new models of governance, economics, and social organization that prioritize sustainability, equity, and justice. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the agency and responsibility we have as individuals and as a species to create a better future for ourselves and the planet. The chapter also explores the relationship between technology and the future of humankind. Harari argues that while technology has the potential to solve many of the challenges we face as a species, it also poses significant risks and challenges of its own. such as the potential for increased inequality, surveillance, and loss of privacy. This lesson underscores the importance of recognizing the potential negative consequences of technological advancement and the need to create systems of governance that prioritize social and environmental responsibility in the development and deployment of new technologies. Finally, the chapter raises important questions about the role of human values and ethics in shaping the future of humankind. Harari argues that we need to create new systems of ethics and values that reflect the interconnected and interdependent nature of human societies and the planet. This lesson emphasizes the importance of recognizing the interconnectivity of human societies and the need to create systems of governance and resource distribution that promote human flourishing and sustainability for all, guided by values and ethics that prioritize equity, justice, and responsibility. Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, is a sweeping and thought-provoking exploration of the history of Homo sapiens, from the emergence of our species in Africa to the present day and beyond. Through a combination of scientific research, philosophical inquiry, and engaging storytelling, Yuval Noah Harari offers readers a unique perspective on the forces that have shaped human societies and the challenges that lie ahead. One of the key strengths of the book is its interdisciplinary approach, drawing on insights from fields such as biology, anthropology, history, and economics. This allows Harari to offer a broad and nuanced perspective on the complex interactions between biological, social, and cultural factors that have contributed to the development of human societies. Another strength of the book is its accessibility and engaging writing style. Harari uses vivid and often humorous language to convey complex ideas and historical events, making the book an enjoyable and informative read for a wide audience. The book is also structured in a clear and logical way, with each chapter building on the previous one to create a cohesive narrative. Perhaps the most significant contribution of the book is its exploration of the ethical and philosophical implications of historical and current trends. Harari raises thought-provoking questions about the nature of human identity, the value of life, and the potential consequences of technological advancements, encouraging readers to engage in critical thinking and ethical reflection about the future of humanity. Overall, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind is a book that is worth reading for anyone interested in understanding the forces that have shaped human societies and the challenges that lie ahead. It offers a broad and nuanced perspective on the complex interactions between biology, culture, and society, while also challenging readers to reflect on their values, priorities, and the potential consequences of their actions and decisions. The book is a testament to the power of interdisciplinary thinking and the importance of engaging in ethical reflection and responsible decision-making. And that's it for today's episode of Uncle Al's Bookshelf. I hope you enjoyed this quick summary of another timeless classic, and that you discovered something new about the world of literature. I'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. What did you think of today's selection? Did we miss anything important? Is there a specific book you'd like us to cover next? Let us know and join the conversation. Also, if you liked this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your fellow book lovers. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel to stay up to date with our latest book summaries and literary insights. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Uncle Al's Bookshelf.